Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Diamond DA20 Eclipse for X-Plane 12. This video is pretty much just going to be a guide on how to properly use the airplane using the checklists and how to get everything running and taking the tie downs off and all of that stuff, as well as functionality of the aircraft. You can see here that we've provided a very accurately modeled DA20 and some high resolution textures to go along with that. So today we're just going to go ahead and start with a walk around, and we'll use the checklist to get through various phases of flight. You can do this with me by using the included DA20 normal checklist PDF in the installed folder that you would have installed off of the X-Plane org store or our other vendors such as AnyBuilds, which will be coming to their store very soon. So let's go ahead and jump into the cockpits here. So scroll down to your second page. We have the before starting engine checks. Actually, before start engine checks, we're going to go through our walk around, and I believe I have keybind 1 set. So first of all, we're going to look at the landing gear and make sure it's all intact up into the actual fuselage itself. The landing gear is just a single kind of leaf spring, just one part that comes all the way through the fuselage, connecting both gear together. So we can see that that's visually intact. Gear pin is in, that's great. We're going to go ahead and remove that chock. Coming over here, we have our stall horn tie down. We're going to go ahead and remove that, as well as our pitot tube covering. Just click on those. In X-Plane 12, we're lucky enough we can just go ahead and click on things in the exterior view and the internal view. Let's hop around here to the wingtip. We're going to go ahead and check the lights here in a second, but basically we just want to make sure, because the aircraft is low wing, that it's possible we could have a wing strike on landing or takeoff if you're not on the controls fully. So in the real thing, if you would see a wing strike, there'd be a big mark underneath the wing, or even a chip taken out of, say, the aileron. Everything looks fine there. We're going to go ahead and just give the aileron a push with our flight controls and make sure it's working properly, which it is. Down here, we're going to check the flaps here momentarily. I'll go ahead and just turn on the GenBat. So we're going to go ahead and give the flaps a notch down, make sure all the actuators are working properly, which they are. Great, we'll bring the flaps back up. So we're ensuring that all of our flap actuators are working properly. Down here in the real aircraft, we would check the fuel drains. We have 2 fuel drains here. Make sure that the coloring is blue and all of that, and there's no water leakages. Back to the rudder assembly. We're going to go ahead and give the rudder a push, make sure that our rods are moving and everything is functional there. Do the same on the left side. Another thing we would check normally is just to make sure that the rudder trim tab is deflected off to the left slightly, which it is. Over this side, we're looking for the same things, so no wing strike there. We'll give the aileron a little bit of a twirl. Everything's working good. We'll go ahead and set our flaps again and ensure that all of our actuators are working, which they are. Fantastic. This side here now, let's make sure that the right gear is intact, which it's connected into the fuselage. Our pins are in, and we will go ahead and click on that chock to get rid of it. Lastly, we're going to click on this chock to get rid of that, and the click spot for your cowling cover is going to be where you connect these straps. So you would just click on each one of these. There's one click spot for all of them. Just click it. There goes your cowling cover, and you'll notice the airplane wants to roll around a little bit. It's just X-Plane 12 doing X-Plane 12 things. Over to the prop, just make sure there's no cracks on the wood, any of that. Looks good, just a little bit of dirt, that's fine. All of our screws are in there good. And again, no cracks. So, back into the cockpit. That's our, we would check the oil too. That might come in a later update. Back into the cockpit we go. Before starting engine checks, we have, let's get that gen bat off so we don't want to kill the battery. Pre-flight inspection is completed. Wheel chocks are off, control locks we don't have on, tow bar and cowling cover are all removed. Cold weather cowling baffles, we do not need those. Our Hobbs meter, we would look down here. We don't have a functioning Hobbs in X-Plane here, but we would record our Hobbs meter down. Rudder pedals you could pull and adjust. We don't have that either. Loose articles, you would just ensure that there's nothing is moving back here. We don't have anything that's going to flop around, so that's great. Passenger briefing, if you had a passenger, you'd go through that. Safety belts, fasten yourselves up. Park brake, we'll go ahead and fully set that. Flight controls, we'll just check left, up, right, down. Full right, we have right up, left down, that's great. Full down, full up. And actually you should be able to see the rudder through this. That's what I use to check the rudder in the real aircraft. It's moving free and correctly. Fantastic. What's next here? Fuel shutoff valve is confirmed, it's pushed in. And we're going to go ahead and set our mixture to the full rich position. Throttle is confirmed idle, and our throttle friction is fine. Avionics master, want to make sure that's turned off. We're going to go ahead and throw our gen bat on. In a future update, we are going to have these, probably in the next update, we're going to have the lights actually working, our warning lights. So the gen would come on. I'm sure you guys will get that update soon. Gen light would come on. Exterior lights, we'll throw position on. Instrument panel light switches are all turned to the off position. Canopy is closed and it's secured. There would be also a canopy light here. Again, that'll be coming in the next update. And we do have our oil pressure above 75, so we can go ahead and do a warm engine start for the next piece of the checklist. So, throttle is idle, mixture is set full rich. We're going to go ahead and hold our toe brakes, and we will open the little window here, yell clear prop, close that, and throw the ignition key in. I'll turn it to both. We're going to go and do fuel pump, fuel prime, throttle up to 3 and back to 1/4 inch, and just like that our engine is started. Great. To the next few pages, we're not going to worry about any of the cold or EPU starts. Before taxi checks, we're going to throw the avionics master on. Give that Garmin a little crank to the right. Beautiful. No, I just flicked the cowling cover back on. Okay, set that park brake again. So the avionics master is on. We're going to go ahead and check our instruments. So when you start the battery, our compasses are going to swing. Just hit D on your keyboard. Again, that's hitting D on your keyboard. That'll reset them. That looks great there. We have our elevation at the airfield of relatively 232. We'll go ahead and idle the power now. That's great. Engine gauges, we're just going to check them. They all look good. Voltmeter is in the green. Electric fuel pump is on. Fuel primer is off. Warning lights, we're going to go ahead and push these. That'll again be in the next update. Our elevator trim we can see is set to the neutral position. And we'll go and check we don't need cabin heat, we'll check the temperatures outside. Great, our clock is fully functional as per the manual. ATIS, we're not going to worry about any frequencies or none of that today. Our altimeter setting is, it should be a little bit lower than that. I think it's somewhere around there currently. And we'll set our radios up. Those are all set. That's great. And let's get rid of the park brake. So, taxiing on over to our run-up area, which is just over here in Moncton. It would be somewhere around here. Scenery's not very accurate. Let's just go ahead and say this is our run-up area here. So whatever the winds currently are, I'm not totally sure, but we're just going to stop here. We'd face into the wind, set that park brake again. Great. To the engine run-up checklist, next page. We're going to make sure that the area behind us is clear, which it is. Our park brake is set. We're fastened up. Mixture is set full rich. Fuel shut-off valve is pushed in. Fuel quantity is over this side, showing full. That's fantastic. Oil temperature is well above 75. That'll have to get fixed as well. I don't know why that's reading so high. Throttle, we're going to increase to 1700 RPM. There it is there. Our brakes are working, we're not moving, that's great. Oil pressure, these should read a little bit different than what they are now. So my apologies for that. We're going to go ahead and check our mags. So we'll go left, we should see about 100 RPM drop. Good, back to both. And we'll check the right mag now. Same. Great, back to both. Our vacuum pump is well above green, which is good. We're going to go ahead and check our voltmeter. Flick all of these up. Throw our flaps down. Our volts should stay about the same, which they do. Turn all of this back off. I skipped the electric fuel pump, but we'll go ahead and click that now. There should be no change. X-Plane doesn't simulate that very well, so there is a slight change. We still have fuel pressure, so that's good. Put that fuel pump back on, and we'll go ahead and idle our throttle. Mixture lean. So we'll just pull the mixture back a little bit. There's a little bit of an increase in RPM, barely, but that's fine. And the NG gauges again, checking. I don't know why our oil pressure is reading so high. That's an issue I will have to fix here. Cool. Circuit breakers, they're all pressed in, they're not functional. Carbon monoxide card is down here, it's white, that's great. And our flaps I should have left in the takeoff position, which they are indicating. For takeoff checks, our fuel prime is off. Electric fuel pump is on. Mixture is set full rich. GenBat master switch is on. Ignition is both. We have our trim set neutral. Wing flaps are takeoff position. That is confirmed. Again, flight control checks. Left rudder, right rudder. And we'll skip through this. Transponder squawk code, whatever you get on VATSIM or Pilot Edge, whatever you're using. Enter that in here. We'll just say 2311. Keep it on standby. And we'll go ahead and taxi to our active runway. I'll meet you guys at the runway. So this is runway 11 here. We're just going to go ahead and give it full power. Temperatures and pressures should be good. I gotta fix that. Airspeed is alive. There's 44 knots. We'll rotate whenever the airplane wants to get up. And there it goes. And we'll pitch for 68 knots here for our best climb with takeoff flaps. A little bit bumpy here today. we're going to want to throw our flaps to cruise 400 feet after takeoff, so roughly 600. Okay, there's 600. We'll throw our flaps to takeoff and pitch for 75 on the climb out. I'm making myself a bit of nose up trim here to maintain that 75. And we'll go through our climb checks now. So we have mixture set full rich, pitch and attitude is as required. Throttle is set to full. Our engine gauges, I don't know what's going on with that oil pressure. I'll have to fix, or oil temperature, I'll have to fix that here as soon as I'm done this video. Wing flaps are cruise. Airspeed is 75 currently. Trim is adjusted, and our engine cowling, we're just looking for any oil leakages here. We can ensure that that is clean. That's our climb checks. We'll just do a circuit here and then we'll come back around. So circuit altitude 1,000 above aerodrome elevation. So there's that coming in. We'll set 2,000 RPM. And we'll turn to a heading of 020 for our crosswind. It's very bumpy. I just blew past that, but that's okay. Cruise checks, there's not really a huge need for the cruise checks, so we'll go down just for the circuit's purpose. So we'll just not really worry about any of that stuff right now. We'll go ahead and turn downwind. The airplane is requiring a bit more power here at the moment. We'll go ahead and turn our downwind here for 286 is going to be our runway heading for that. Airplane's bouncing all over the place. Okay. Here we are established in the downwind now. We can make a radio call if we had a tower online. Skip all the way down to our before landing checks. So we have our lights are all on. GenBat is on. Ignition switch is set to both. Fuel pump is on. Our mixture is confirmed set full rich. And we'll do our approach checklist here as we come in for our base turn. Very bumpy. We do have multiple selections here on the clock as well: universal time, local time, flight time, and estimated, or correction, it's elapsed time. You can hold this down, it'll give you a blinker, or it should. There it goes. You can set all this stuff yourself if you want to hold down on the button. Now you can change how much flight time you want. You can just go ahead and set that. Clearly I'm not really doing that correctly right now, but no need to worry. Okay, so we'll go ahead and turn our base drop it down a bit, lose some altitude. And we'll go takeoff flaps. And let's give it some landing flaps below 78 knots. We'll go power idle. Tell that the wind's coming from the right here. So what we're most likely going to end up doing is just slipping that into the wind a bit. Now on approach, it's tend to be almost full up trim. And there's only for a slip here actually, so we're good with that. That was the approach checks, by the way, just doing your speed checks and flaps, speed checks and flaps. Okay, approaching roughly 60. I'm just giving it a bit more because of the wind here. We're going to aim for the big markers. Cut the power into the flare. And there you have it. Alright, I hope that gave a little bit of insight on how to operate the airplane. We're going to exit on Charlie here. There still are a few things that need some tweaking, but I'm going to be working on those here shortly to get you guys an update. Other than that, the only other thing that I haven't shown is the canopy open and the dipstick, which I can do here momentarily when we shut the airplane down. I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down here for time's sake again. So we'll set the park brake, engine shut down, so park brake is set, throttle is idle, fuel pump we will go to off, do a mag check, that's all good, and we'll shut the mixture off. Ignition key, you would turn it to off, and avionics master can come off. Last thing, just throw all your lights off. We tend to just keep the position light on. That'll turn off with the gen bat, and just go ahead and shut your gen bat off. I should put the flaps up, but that's okay. Alright, so hopping outside of the airplane now. Let's just do, what did I have set there? Sure, that'll work. Go ahead and just, there's a click spot here on the red handle. That'll open up the canopy. And if you want to just dip the tanks, you can do that as well. We have our dipstick in the back here. When you click on the fuel cap, it'll release that, and the dipstick will go into the fuel tank. All's well. You checked your fuel. Just throw that back in there, and get on with your life and close the canopy. And that's going to do it for this. I hope that gave you all some insight on how to fly this thing a little bit better. You have the checklists in the install folder, so that's fantastic. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the forums, and I will see you all in another one.